It's like a play where I walk the audience through these different moments and I have these surprises for them.
What do you know about the languages and cultures of the community in and around the Rutgers University New Brunswick campus? When you walk French, Albany, or George streets, what do the sights, sounds, and signs tell you about the global origins and connections of our city? For instance, did you know the name Rutgers and other familiar places, such as Frelinghuysen Hall and Hardenberg, reflect the university's Dutch beginnings and affiliation with the Dutch Reformed Church? Did you know the word Raritan originates from an indigenous Lenape language? Did you know in 1910, New Brunswick was the city with the second largest Hungarian population outside of Hungary? Did you know in 2023, a Mexican consulate opened in New Brunswick because nearly 50% of the population of New Brunswick is Spanish-speaking, with a substantial portion of Spanish speakers of Mexican origin, many of whom also still use indigenous languages, such as Mixteco, in their daily lives? Did you know many of the restaurants, Pakistani, Greek, and others, of New Brunswick were founded by members of fairly large communities of migrants from other countries who have made New Brunswick or the surrounding area their homes, but who still celebrate their heritage, not only through food, but also by keeping their languages alive?
The Explore Multilingual New Brunswick project was funded by a Research2Practice Fellowship from the Division of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement at Rutgers University. Our scavenger hunt guides participants on a quest to discover the diverse languages of our community and the people who use them and value them. Our interactive map directs you to multilingual signs that serve as a portal to New Brunswick's multicultural past and present. The project was developed by a team of community-engaged researchers at Rutgers University who study linguistic landscapes, that is, the visible and audible displays of language in public spaces that can shed light on the diverse linguistic communities that support multilingualism and value the knowing of more than one language. Claudio has been involved in supporting and celebrating street art projects in New Brunswick since the 1990s and has been studying the ways in which migrant populations in the city have, for over a century, left their linguistic and graphic traces on public surfaces, from churches to restaurants to community centers throughout the downtown.
So when I moved to New Brunswick 40 years ago, I started doing the same kind of work and asking people and noticing the facade of the buildings and saying, like, something happened here. So I discovered that New Brunswick was like a exploding in pre-industrial, industrial, post-industrial, before the Civil War, after the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. It had a role in every major movement in the United States. Like, for example, if you know New Brunswick, the space between Seminary Place and Douglas, all that waterfront, now it's totally different because Route 18 took part of that, the Delaware-Raritan Canal, all that waterfront, it's maybe like 10 blocks, was covered with warehouses, factories. Like, New Brunswick used to make everything. I said in my tour that New Brunswick is the crossroads of the world, just like Obama said when he came to New Brunswick for the keynote, because it's true. Like, all major transportation movements of the United States had their example or their mode in New Brunswick. From Lenape, original people building trails that would go from here to what's New York now, or Pennsylvania, and some even to Florida, like the Lenape Trail that became Route 27, or the King's Highway, went all the way to Florida. Walking on Plum Street, for example, where the last Hungarian neighborhood, even though all Somerset Street, all the way from College Ave all the way to Kossuth Avenue at the end of Somerset, was all Hungarians. I know a lady from my church, Sister Jeannie, who said that when she was, mind you, she's probably 94, that when she was a little girl, her dad will drive her in the spring to look at the Hungarian roses, because most of the Hungarians love roses in their front yard. So all that stuff is what I bring when I conduct a tour. It's like saying, have you thought of this? Do you know this? And I see the eyes of the students going like, oh my God, I didn't know that. So New Brunswick or it's not a city that is strange to you. I always say that if you come to Rutgers and you don't explore the city of New Brunswick, you're losing like 50% of the experience. Right? Because New Brunswick has these amazing Mexican restaurants. And I tell you, if you eat Mexican food in New Brunswick, you're ruined for the rest of your life. You will never, ever be able to eat Mexican food unless you travel to Mexico or to Los Angeles. One of those moments for me, it's meaningful to me, is like how the Hungarian Athletic Club is right across from this store called La Guelaguetza, which is Guelaguetza is a Oaxacan, the most important Oaxacan festival for original people, where people come from the mountains or from the towns around the city of Oaxaca, in the state of Oaxaca, and play music or show their craft. So for me, that is very poetic, like the Hungarian, the first large community that came to live in New Brunswick, born outside of the country, is right across from La Guelaguetza. It's like saying, it's okay. We were here, we survived. I remember a friend of mine, Kathy, she's the granddaughter of a Hungarian immigrant, and I asked her, Kathy, what's the difference? And she said, it's the same. I see grandmothers taking kids to school. I see people going with a soccer ball to play on Sundays. I see people with a small business. I see people going to work. The only difference is that they're speaking Spanish and we were speaking Hungarian. So for me, that's beautiful, right? For me, it's a way of connecting, right? Of building those bridges from my work as a program coordinator for the Rutgers Collaborative Center for Community Engagement, and in my belonging to the community of New Brunswick, like my commitment to my job and what I know, the resources and what happens here, and the quality of the people working in the university and the quality of the people living in the city, and how those two groups can come together and collaborate and benefit each other from this relationship. So if you haven't come in one of my tours, you should soon.
The Explore Multilingual New Brunswick Quest recreates Claudio's tour experience and connects you to the multilingual signs, sounds, and people of New Brunswick. We begin on campus at the Zimmerli Museum, one of the largest and most distinguished university museums in the country, and whose multilingual signage and programming both reflects and responds to our diverse community. You'll then make your way down Somerset Street to explore various locations of our Hungarian community, including the Magyar Reformed Church, the Hungarian Scout Home, and the American Hungarian Foundation and Cultural Center. Stroll down French Street to connect with both the past and present as you explore spaces and places with roots in Mexico, in particular Oaxaca. Complete your tour by stopping at a popular Pakistani cafe, and then return to campus to reflect on the Raritan's Lenni Lenape heritage and explore the origins of the Greek motto at the Douglas campus entrance.